Hey everyone, it's Colin with the Willowsford farm again. Today we're in one of our high tunnels here. As you can see, we've got a lot of tomatoes growing in here. These are cherry tomatoes, and I figured it'd be a good time to talk about pruning. So any of the tunnels tomatoes that we grow are what are called indeterminate varieties. That means they'll just continue growing vertically and set fruit continuously rather than kind of flushes a big fruit, which would be more characteristic of a determinate variety. They will get much taller. As you can see, these are pretty darn tall at this point, than a determinate variety will. And it allows us to trellis and prune in the way that I'm about to outline. So you might ask yourself, why prune a tomato plant? And there are actually several reasons why we might consider doing this. If you look behind me here, you can see that there are a lot of fruit sets that are kind of hanging out here right in the open. When pruned correctly, it makes harvest really easy. It allows us to have ready access to the fruit. We don't necessarily have to be fighting through vines in order to get to the right fruit, and that's a huge advantage from a labor perspective. Additionally, if you look at sort of how these are strung up, we use a single leader system, and what that means is we can pack tomatoes really tightly into this valuable high tunnel space, have really high production levels, without worrying as much about things like fungal diseases and whatnot, because we have a lot of airflow that's moving through this tunnel. If you look down at the bottom here, we've cleared out a lot of space, and that means that there's not that stagnant, stale air that you oftentimes get with unpruned field tomatoes. And that again reduces our pathogen loads because we have ready airflow around the base of those plants. The last thing that might be worth considering is sort of the fruit set that we actually get off a pruned plant versus an unpruned plant. When you prune the plants, you're basically redirecting energy from foliar growth to sort of those fruit clusters or the fruit set. What that means is we get, as we lop off all the unnecessary vines or branches, it means that we're redirecting energy to creating an earlier and more sustained fruit set. So in these tunnel tomatoes, we can get ripe fruit a lot earlier, and then we can extend that over a much longer season because those plants are not putting as much energy into foliar growth, but instead are able to take those nutrients from the soil, use that solar energy to create more fruit. So then the question is, how do we actually do this? This tunnel has been gone through several times now, so we have a pretty good baseline in terms of how the plants are looking at this point. But I'm gonna give you a close-up example of what we're looking for when we prune and show you exactly how we do it. So this right here would be an example of what we're looking for. This right here is the main stem. It goes all the way down the plant to the ground where it is rooted. Right here we have a leaf branch that's coming off. We have the stem, and then we have this little guy that's coming off to the side, which is making additional flowers and leaves and whatnot. So this is called the leader. This is the main stem that we're trying to maintain. In a single leader system, we only have one of these and we're cutting off everything else. In a dual leader or multi-leader system, we would select the strongest one of these early on in the plant's production and use that as a secondary leader. This, which is coming out in sort of the joint between the main leader and the leaf, is called a sucker. This is actually what we're going to remove. We do not need to have this on here because this is just going to draw energy away from, this stem, this fruit set, the additional foliage that we're developing to support the overall growth. So we'll either come in and just snap it off like that, or we'll come in and cut that. That allows us to have basically a wall of single stems that go from ground all the way up to our trusses with exposed fruit, just the right amount of foliage and the right amount of airflow for easy harvest, easy pest and disease management, and really productive plants. The other thing that's worth noting is that at the bottom here, you'll see that we've stripped off a lot of the leaves. Basically what we do is we cut off everything up to the most active fruit set, maybe the second most active fruit set. So this, for example, this branch, this fruiting branch here is expired. So with next pruning, we'll come in, we'll lop that off. We'll follow it up, find the next fruit set that's active, and we'll trim all the leaves leading up to that point. And what that allows us to do is continuously clear off dead or dying foliage on the bottom, create a really nice amount of airflow at the bottom, and also kind of declutter the space so that harvest continues to be really easy. All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone. As always, leave comments, questions, thoughts below. If you're pruning your tomatoes at home, let us know how you're doing it. If there's a particular tomato variety you really love, please let us know. But thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.